topic of the discussion and hit the issues you typically find reluctant. Remove the facade to fill the gap with some substance. We undermining problems, expecting to overcome it. Please hold the applause. We doing it for the cause. People follow culture before they follow the laws. We rather face the friction and not attempt it at all. Persistence will find solutions once our contentment dissolves. There's a hard pill to swallow for anyone breathing, both for folks who stay woke and those who be dreaming. We ain't slaves, yet we still ain't experienced freedom. What we need is the keys to access the kingdom. We're all in this fallen world trying to stay intact. I'm just a beggar, point you out to where the bread is at. So follow the breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel, and thank Yogi Bear and the thought engineer for that on Man Talk Monday. It's Man Talk Monday.
Woo! Man,
you breaking it down? You breaking it down, Bill? Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, it's the hottest intro in the business.
It's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. It is.
Shout out to my man AD Antonio Drake for that fire intro. We appreciate you, man. It's Man Talk Mondays, ladies and gentlemen. We are back once again. I am the thought engineer here with my man, comedian John Yogi. How you doing?
Man, what is up? I can't wait for this one. I cannot. You know how you put your hand on your hip and you go, girl, I can't wait for this one. I can't wait for
slip.
We got a hot one tonight, sir.
Oh, yes, sir. It is it's gonna get kind of real up in here tonight. Yes, but that's what we do. That's what we keep it real on Man Talk Mondays. So I just want to remind the people, this is Man Talk Mondays. It's an open forum where we talk about everything from religion to politics to relationships. We really dig into those relationships. We want you to be listening, right? But of course, we're doing it from a man's perspective. Now, keep in mind, this is not just for men, women, boys, and girls. You're able to join into the conversation. We want you to participate. Now, how you do this? You go into the comments, you drop your comment, drop your question. We can see this. And this is how you participate. Let us know how you feel. If you got a question, you got a comment, by all means, just let us know. We can get you into the conversation. So we just all sitting around having a good old talk just about the topic. We just talk.
We drinking something cold, whether it be the beverage of your choice, and we sitting around talking. That's all. We just sitting around talking.
Don't forget, make sure you like, share, subscribe to our page, Man-Talk Mondays, Man-Talk Mondays. We got to put the dash in there. Man-Talk Mondays on Facebook, also on YouTube. You can go, you can subscribe there. Also subscribe to our podcast. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, and other podcasts, even Amazon now. We're on Amazon now. So yeah, we're doing big things. We're moving on up to the east side. All right. So make sure you do that. Make sure you go and subscribe. You can listen to us anytime you want to. You know what I'm saying? When you're taking the kids to school, when you cleaning up the house, you know what I'm saying? When you cooking dinner, whatever you want to do, you can listen to us and get this goodness that is Man Talk Mondays. But we will not prolong the time. We gonna get right into this. Now, gotta let y'all know, we came across a video, and the video led to this article that was written by Deborah Cooper back in 2010, all the way back in 2010. And it was talking about how the Black church is keeping Black women single and lonely. And so it just got us to thinking. It seemed like it'd be a good conversation, something to talk about.
Yes, to talk about.
So we want to know tonight, is the church keeping Black women single?
Black women keeping Black women single.
Show done. All right, let's go to Chris.
Oh, one time yet? Okay.
No, one time yet.
Okay, y'all go over there.
Andrea Lynn, I hope you're ready, Andrea. I hope you're ready. Miss Wiley, I hope you're ready. We're about to jump into this. But before we get into this, we are being joined by the good people of the podcast, Queen 3 and King. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Queen 3 and King. We have the illustrious people here with us tonight. They're going to be joining us for this conversation. And I think they're ready. We're ready. It should be good, right? First off, we have King Dawk in the house.
King Dawk in the house.
How you doing
ready?
tonight?
We ready.
Uh-oh.
We ready for y'all.
I hope they ready. I hope they ready. Think we have.
You know it.
Next up, Miss Nicole. Miss Nicole, how you doing?
I'm awesome. I am so excited to be on this podcast, and I can't wait to hear what you guys got to say about these Black women.
Okay.
And I already got my beverage of choice.
Okay, got the ice in there. All right.
I'm ready now.
Keeping it healthy. All right. Next up, we have Miss Mika. Miss Mika is in the house. All right.
You gonna say something?
Hey, T, are you? What's wrong?
Unmute, Miss Mika. We want to hear you.
No, we don't.
Y'all didn't hear
Yeah,
No.
there you go now. We got you now.
Maybe we should have kept him muted.
Oh, no.
Maybe you should choke on that ice.
Oh, wow.
Y'all gotta be sisters.
It's the black love. The sisterly love. Okay.
All right, don't show out on live podcast, girl.
Uh-oh. And last but not least, we have Miss Alicia.
Hello.
Oh my! All right.
Y'all in an
You
award?
live with my microphone. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
It's just one of the many awards that we have.
Okay. Yes, I'm at the award-winning podcast.
Oh,
Look what I found. Look what I found.
Okay. Yeah. John, they gonna get on here and flex on us. You got that flex on us?
hey, see, I'm looking around like this.
I got a trophy somewhere.
I know I got something. I know I got something.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Miss Monique said, yes, I'm ready. We ready too, Monique. She said, bring it on.
I
Okay.
know ain't we the ready.
So I think the women seem to be poised and ready for this conversation.
Okay, Sister Lynn.
That might be a word.
Let's see this.
She just ain't gonna waste no time. She said black men are keeping black women single.
Well,
We're gonna
To the
see.
people.
We're gonna see who's keeping them single. All right. Show me what you got, black men. Bring it on. We ready for this. We ready for this. So is the church keeping black women single? Is the church keeping black women single? So I want to know just real quick. Is the church a good place to find a man? I want the ladies. Is the church a good place to find a man?
I think that it can be, but there's men all over the place and women all over the place who are not genuinely good people. They can go to the church and prey on women, single women, young teenagers too. So that's what I'm saying. So, but there can be some men found in the church house, some good men.
Is a hospital a good place to find somebody that's well? Then the church ain't huh? Then the church ain't a place to find somebody that's well. The church is a hospital. It's just a spiritual hospital.
But everybody, all of us are in the church. They go to the church. We are all sinners and we fall short of God's glory. So you're not going to find the perfect man in the church house or the perfect woman.
That's
but
right.
you can find. It's not saying that you can't find one in the church though.
I think the problem is that people seek to go find a significant other in the church. They don't go to seek the word. They seek to see who they can put their eyes on. Some go into it for the wrong reasons. So they get the wrong results.
Well, generally, I think when you go to the church and you're looking for a man, you just hoping that the guy won't dog you out. Because in the world, when you find a guy, and you jump in, you put them legs up too quick, he'll dog you out, and then he'll tell his boys about it. You just hoping in the church that he won't tell everybody about it. It'll be just between you and him.
All right, Justin Carroll would say it's not the church that's doing it.
Yeah, it's not the church, y'all.
Really?
Well,
So let me ask a question. So why do women ask men, especially black women? Why do black women ask men when they meet them, "Are you saved? Do you go to church?"
I don't ask if you go to church. If you go to church, because I've met a few that go to church and was no good. So I ask if you saved and if you have a relationship.
It's the same thing, right? And
no,
it's not the same
church
thing.
people, and then there's people who have a relationship.
Okay,
I have to agree with you on that. There's a difference between, again, we've done a series, religion versus relationship. You're gonna find a lot of religious people in church that don't have a relationship with Christ. So I get that, but I guarantee you, and there's a difference as well. You got to think in our community, especially, you got mega churches, and then you got your regular small churches. And I'm telling you right now, they handle dating in that church differently based on those parameters 9 times out of 10. So if you don't think the church is having any impact whatsoever, you're naive.
So let me give Miss Wiley's comment. She says, "I don't think the church is a good place because majority of men think single church women are thirsty." Still putting it off on the men. What you got to say, John? John, you was gonna
do they?
Real quick.
They are thirsty.
You saw Mika hold up her cover. You Mika hold up water right there.
Listen, one thing women can do in the church, they can hide from persecution. Because that man is not going to make them women accountable for what they're doing. If a man is running through the women, they're going to get on that man and tell him, "You better stop it." They ain't saying nothing to them swinging legs out in the audience. They're letting that man do it. That is the one place that women can go. That is the one place that women can go that they would not be held accountable because they don't want to lose those women.
No.
Ooh, you know something.
No, I don't think so at all because I've been around plenty of churches and plenty of women that crave that thirst, that call each other out based on seeing that thirst. Are you sleeping with the pastor? Oh, she with Deacon Lewis or whatever it may be. But we definitely see it behind the scene. You might not see it from a guy's standpoint, but it definitely happens. We call each other out. That's for sure.
So let me ask a question. Is she calling it out to keep you accountable, or is she calling out to cut out the competition?
Both. I think it's a little of both. I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's to call you out based on what you do, but let's be for real. Some people want your position, so they want to swoop right on in there. So if you do have a situation going on,
and just speaking as a single woman, sometimes they think that's all you're there for.
Yeah.
So when you walk into church, you're automatic. All eyes are on you. You know what you're doing, what you're here for. I don't want that deacon. I don't want none of them brothers. Leave me.
So do y'all believe that all men in the church are there for that one reason, that there's not any good men that's in the church?
What are you talking to?
I don't think that.
I'm talking to the whole panel.
Okay.
So what is a man's motivation for going to
Jesus?
church?
To see a personal, intimate relationship with God. Some of them. Not everybody is in there. I don't care what nobody say. Not every man is in the church house just to see what he can get, see who he can lay in between.
Let me say this.
Or who he can use.
Well, let me say this. Most of the time when we come to Christ, when people come to Christ, it's because they're broken in an area. They either out of job, they broke, busted, and disgusted.
You're right.
That's most of the time why we come. Now, and so we on the ground. We're not looking for nothing else but God to save us. Now it's when we getting up that's the problem. Because when you getting up, you take your eyes off of God and you start looking at all of the people, all the ushers and the greeters, and you say,
I get that.
I'm not where I was when I came in. I'm actually better now. So now I can see.
So which says your motivation was not change, but rather relief. You weren't looking for change. You were looking for relief. The minute you got a bit of relief, your true intentions, you're comfortable now to bring out the true intentions. And now people see what we're dealing with. But does the fact that they're in church or you find a man in church, does that break down to where you don't really scrutinize them as much? Does it kind of give you a false sense of security about that man because you found him in church? Let me get Cheryl real quick. Cheryl says, first of all, women aren't to be finding. Man is to be finding.
She right.
They are out of focus when they are looking and generally find what's not good for them. Hey, well, we're gonna preach, Miss Cheryl.
That's right.
But do you think the church gives a false sense of security to people when they're looking? Because you think, since I found them in church, there must be some goodness about it.
But now Mika's saying, yeah, but I don't think it's the church fault. You're gonna agree with me. Just say, hold on.
Okay.
I think it's because think about this. Who can tell you more about the church than people in church? It's the people in the world. So most of the time we put more emphasis on the church. We do it. The church can never live up to the expectation that we put on it unless we start to.
That's right.
Right.
That's good.
So Miss Monique says, we ask if you have a true relationship with Christ. Are you living this life to live again? Okay, but my thing is, what's the motivation for asking this? Mika, you said you ask if they say. What's the motivation?
Wait, can I get that? Let me get that. Who gonna be honest with you? If you see me in church, you say, Brother Lewis, I noticed that you were crying. I was just trying to be one with the Lord, and I'm looking at you when you walk off because you got that bump in the back. Stop it. I'm gonna tell you what I got to. I'm going to tell you what I got to tell you. I'm trying to be born again, but in the heaven, while I'm here with you, trying to see what you talking about.
You said that choir got a bones in it. Well, let me say, because I can say this. My wife asked me that. Now, I was a church boy, grew up in church, but she asked me, she said, are you saved? I say, nope. I told her straight up. I said, nope. It wasn't that I wasn't acquainted. She found me in the church, but she didn't. Let me see. She found me at church, but she didn't find me in the church. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. I knew enough about church to know I didn't want to fool with it at the time.
Yeah.
But when I met her, she was a church girl. My wife was a church girl.
What were you in the church for?
Wait. Was she?
I can see
her favorite day of the week was Sunday. She loved church. She loved Sunday. She just loved the whole thing about it. Me, I was like, man, you can keep all that, because I had been in church. I had seen some things, and I was like, I don't want to fool with that.
You didn't want to play. You didn't want to play with it.
Yeah.
But I can say, when I came to church, I wasn't looking for somebody.
Right.
I had already made up in my mind, I need to get myself together, and I just happened to meet her.
Yep.
Okay, and did she think you were a good man at the church when she met you?
She thought I was sexy.
Well, sexy and good, the same thing.
No, it's the same thing. It is not the same thing.
She did, because I got tired of hearing about you. She did.
Because I mean, you can't just know a person's heart by what just looking at them. But now the thing about me, before I got there, I had already talked to God, and I said, listen, the next person I get with, I'm gonna do everything in my power to make it work. So I was already focused on working a relationship out. I wasn't I wasn't praying on the church.
See, I can agree with you, because I was 6'2", and I had like long hair, and I had the brr on my stomach.
The brr. What's the brr?
Six pack.
Real pack.
You better tell him what that is, because he act like he don't know. And that's the problem. I came from outside of the church. I wasn't in the church. It's funny because I think I made this point earlier. The church is a hospital, and people are trying to be delivered from different things. And a lot of times we don't take the time to see what people are trying to be delivered from.
Yeah.
So you may be walking into, if this brother has been running women, you're like, since I'm just trying to get myself together, automatically we think it's financial. Automatically we think it's financial or something that we can dismiss. When oftentimes he just tired of running women.
All right, so Damon Dawkins says you go to church to connect with him not them. That's the first relationship you need to get right. Now he's right. But is that our true motivation? So Andrea says, and you don't have to put those legs up too quickly, sir. You can find out what he's working with a whole lot of other ways. Hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
She don't need to be telling me that. She need to be, because don't nobody listen. If more women talk like that in the church, women might abstain a little longer. But nobody corrects them or says anything to them about it. Nobody calls women out. Nobody says anything to women. They get on the brothers.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
The pastor
is that your final answer? I'm having a hard time with that.
Yes. Ain't nobody calling them out for that.
So you saying that there is no accountability for women?
None.
I would say there's less accountability for men in the church that are dogging these women. How about that?
Really?
Okay, so
how about that?
Let me say, because Amika had a hand up. Let me say, the church that we come from, it was a bit of an anomaly because we did have strong men in there. We had men who were dedicated to God, dedicated to family, dedicated to all of that. So any man that came in, there was a standard there. But a young man came in and it was open season. And so he goes around and he's playing it for what it is.
Picking them off.
Picking them off. And everybody focused their time and attention towards him to get him straight. And a wise young man, we had a whole meeting about this, not about him in particular, but how men should just go around sleeping with women. And the young man said, Pastor, are we going to say something to the women? Because nobody was saying anything to them. And the whole time they were mad at each other. Nobody was mad at him. All of the women that he had touched in there were mad at each other. They were not mad at him. So what is going on with that?
Yeah, because he didn't belong to none of them.
I don't know. I guess I've seen it from the different side because I see a lot of women going back and forth with each other and not necessarily putting the man out there.
Exactly.
That was my comment. A lot of the conflict in church doesn't start in the pulpit. It starts in the choir stand.
Hello.
You better talk about
each other
in that choir stand.
What's going on? Who they trying to be with? What the man talking about? So it starts there. So it's not like women. Y'all might not see it, but it is horrible when it comes to women.
Yes, it is. And you can be a woman going to just get your church in every Sunday, but they will put you with another man, and you have nothing to do with this man.
Yeah.
So let's get. Ms. Cheryl says everybody is not trying to get themselves together. There are some trolls out there looking for women.
Come on, trolls.
Here's the thing about the trolls, and this is the thing I was talking about. Because we're in church, there is a false sense of security to where we let our guards down a little bit more than we would if we were somewhere else. So it gives them more opportunity to do these things. And the fact that it's church, and typically you're doing some things that you probably shouldn't be doing, there is more motivation to keep your mouth closed about what's actually happening behind closed doors. So it creates more opportunity for people to run amok, I guess you can say.
Well, let me say this. It's a competition. It's a competition for guys outside the doors, just like it's inside the doors. And you use whatever you have to in order to get that guy. And unfortunately, that's the booty.
John, everything.
Let me say this point.
Am I lying? Just tell me I'm lying. When I was clubbing, they used to have. I'm gonna date myself. The
the Pop the Coochie contest. You remember that?
Yeah.
I remember that.
I remember that.
So you would have several women up on the stage, but it was the one who was willing to go the furthest who always won.
She had to get naked. She had to get naked
or something. She had to show something that others wouldn't do. So when you have slim pickings in the church, who's gonna get that man?
Right. And the fact of the matter is women outnumber men. So again, you know, that ratio, there's got to be something that they got to account for. But see, John made a comment earlier that we just glossed over that has to be considered in the basics of the question. Is the church keeping Black women single? And the bottom line is that these Black women is the ones that's most consistent with these offerings and these tithes and these things of that nature. So is a Black woman being in a relationship the best for that offering basket? You tell me.
No, it's not.
Hold on, let me get Miss Ashanique Calhoun says the church is quick to condemn women.
No.
Now you preaching, Evangelist Calhoun.
Why do you think they're quick to condemn women?
Wait a minute. We ain't condemn nobody. We just told
Why do you think the church is quick to condemn women? I want the lady to respond. Why do you think the church is quick to condemn women?
Who's gonna go?
Yeah, who gonna go?
I think the Black man is so underrepresented in the church. If we start to condemn him, we run him away. I think we're scared to run those men away. And
it ain't number 5 of us in the church. It ain't number 5 of us in there.
And you're scared to run them off.
That's why we're scared to run them off. Because it's only 5.
It's only 5.
And it's 200 women.
And y'all probably all dirty. All 5 probably dirty.
Please let me. Wait.
Go ahead, John.
So how are we condemning the 900 women that's in the church with the 5 guys? So would it be possible that y'all have just as much control of what happened to y'all as we do? Because again, is it about the church or is it about the person? If a woman comes in with the right context, the right thought process, and the right manner of what I'm not going to accept, she's not going to be ran through whether she's in the church or out of the church. It's when she comes in with compromises that she gets ran through in both places.
I ain't got ran through, so I don't know how to answer your question, sir.
No, but I agree with that.
That was a statement.
You can say that point was good.
You had to been run through, Mika.
Let me give Miss Hannah Walton real. Hannah Walton says women should be coming together, not constantly tearing each other down and fighting over a shady man who does not care about one of them. Let me tell you something, Miss Hannah Walton. When supply is scarce,
you better tell them, sir.
You will do whatever. Yeah. Have you ever been hungry before?
She ain't never been hungry.
Listen, have you ever been thirsty? And this is the thing, because we feel like if a man is in church, we automatically label him as a good man, and there aren't as many, then the competition for that good man is now increased, is heightened, and you got to do whatever it takes to be competitive. It's a competitive thing, and we don't talk about the competitive stuff in church. There's a competition there.
It definitely is. I agree with that.
Chauncey says competing for a prize. My poo better than her name.
See, if I had said that, y'all have been all over me.
So Wesley says the church is more willing to condemn men. So when you and Sister Mary, pastor, ain't nobody getting condemned. Now we'll say this, because one thing the article said, it says the church is a business that caters to women.
You know, but why?
And it's good business not to offend or tick off your main customers. The customer is always what?
Right. That's what
right. So if it's more women in the church than men, it's more advantageous. Yes, I'm using big words tonight. It's more advantageous for the businessman to cater to the demographic that's going to bring in the most profit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something you got to think about.
Well, we all know black women spend more money than anybody on God's earth created. And from the garage sales in the morning to Louis Vuitton at night, they spend money. Girl, hello, they spend some money.
Yes.
You know, it said that they spent over $10 billion on her makeup and nails. Billion. So you think they don't want the church don't want none of that money? Of course it does. Mm-hmm. Of course it wants some of that money.
They getting their hair done and stuff to come to church so they can flex.
That's not what you're not gonna do that right there. I'm gonna tell you, you're not gonna do that.
So to that point, when it comes to the fact that she said the church is a business that caters to women, how do y'all feel about that? Because let me give a quick example. I remember Pastor Bishop Jamal Bryant sermon that was circulating. It was years ago. It was probably around 2008, 2009. There was a sermon circulating, Pastor Jamal Bryant. I'll never forget the title. The title says, "I had to date him." And when you listen to it, you hear the women responding. Everybody's hyped and everything. But he talked about Samson and Delilah. Mm-hmm. And as a man, I looked at the scripture and went along with him, and he completely lied. He flat out lied.
What did he lie about, D?
He said Delilah gave Samson oral pleasure to deceive him. What? The Bible never said that. The Bible never said that. And if you read along, he giving you the scripture. If you read along, you like, that ain't in there. What are you talking about? But
he threw his own mess in there.
Because he was catering to women and the audience.
Oh, got you.
He tainted the word.
That makes sense.
Nobody questioned it. Nobody said, "Pastor, what you talking about?"
Yeah.
Well, but you know why? Because women don't sift through the word like men do. First of all, when hold on. Let me say this. And maybe that's not coming out right, but this is exactly what I mean.
It's coming out right,
like you mean it, bro.
Coming out right, John.
When we come to the church, first of all, we recognize game when we come through the door. That's why most of the time they bring us into the church with them. And we looking at the pastor and we going over with a 5-tooth comb everything he said, because we want to make sure we want to cut game off at the legs. We want to cut game off at the legs. Negro, I don't need you putting on no chapstick up there in the pulpit. You do that over there in your chair. That's how we coming. That's how we coming. You see me, that's how I'm coming. I'm looking upside your head first. I want to make sure everything is everything, because that's coming back to my house.
Right.
See, you not God, you just a representation of it. And most of the time, women put him on that pastor, on that God pedestal, and not in my house.
I'm glad he went there, because that's where I was going to go with this, because I've actually had pastors say in the pulpit to the congregation, to the women, don't be going home talking about pastor said this, pastor said that, pastor said this. You bringing me pound cake, and that Negro can't get a cup of coffee. He says, that's why I ain't no men in the church, because you keep talking about what pastor doing, what pastor doing, what pastor doing. Start catering to him. So that goes to the question of why it's only 5 of us in there.
Ivan, why does pastor get the big piece of chicken when he comes out? Why do people, hold up. Why pastor don't have to eat out the paper plates like everybody else? Why he get the good china?
Yeah, you go into the curio cabinet. You go into the curio cabinet to get his out.
The curio cabinet, right? You go special for the pastor in that situation. And all we're trying to say is this. It is clearly slanted when it comes to what black church, I'll say black church caters to. All right, so Alan says, I believe women think if he's a dog in church, he's easier to be changed. That's why they are willing to tolerate them.
No.
That's true.
No.
That's true. They think he's a step closer to the altar.
Y'all try to change somebody outside of the church. I know y'all doing it. I ain't saying y'all ain't doing it in church, but y'all do it outside too.
Yeah.
Y'all want to change. Y'all always want to change somebody. We ain't changing.
But I think that's a valid point. They're not saying that the point makes sense. They're not saying it's logically sound. Right. They're just saying that they think that a guy inside the church is easier to change.
Absolutely.
It's flawed thinking, but a lot of women think it.
Absolutely.
I don't like Alicia's tone. I don't like Alicia's tone at all.
Because John, guess what? I'm gonna sit you down today.
We got Mika number 2 in the house. We got Alicia and Mika on you, John.
See, you should see the way she's looking at me like
because you in these points, and I'm like, is that before or after you looked at Sister Mary backside, like you said earlier?
Oh, it ain't about me. It's not about me.
I'm just trying to see.
Yeah.
Let me get Chauncey's comment. Chauncey says, seriously, it goes back to what John alluded to. We are broken people, male and female. And there are the excuses we use, and these are the excuses we use to substantiate our brokenness. So in essence, people aren't going to church. Well, I'm not going to say they're not going to church to heal, but they get easily distracted from the healing when they're in there.
Yeah.
Is that what's happening?
I think we're going to church to not only heal, we're going to find somebody. You know, a lot of people are going to get over people or get over relationships. Mm-hmm. So while we're going to heal, we're also looking. So it's heal and find somebody.
Yeah. And hey, let's not fool ourselves. Think about it. Our mamas and grandmamas, they used to say to women, you need to go to church to find you a good man. You need to go to church to find. They used to tell us that. So, you know, so that whether it was consciously or subconsciously, it was there.
So I gotta listen, the people are lighting us up tonight. They're lighting us up. So this is, Anthony says, y'all giving the church too much credit. The same people inside the church are some of the same people outside of the church. They all crooked. You've got to look at the individual person and their own morals. Andrea says, I need spiritual nourishment to carry me from Sunday to Wednesday. And I look at men at work, and even then, I don't get my honey where I make my money, but I will flirt though.
Come on.
Hey, come on. That's till you find somebody that tickle your fancy.
Right.
Listen, the right man will make you change all your rules.
While you out here playing, don't get your pants pulled down while you out here playing.
All right, y'all, I gotta go. Good night.
Wow.
How did I get here?
Wow.
While you out here playing, you don't play with that. That's what flirting is. You don't play with that.
Cheryl, get your husband.
Andrea says, where y'all get him from?
Where we got him
in the cowboy shirt. He said, where you get him from? That's my dude right there. He keep it real. That's where we get him from. Cheryl says, women draw to men in authority or power. She bringing up a good point. Women draw to men in authority or power. It's an unspoken desire. Some women let down their guard because they put their hearts in someone else's hands rather than guarding. Cheryl, if you're gonna talk about it, talk about it.
Yeah.
So Ashanique says that is a whole word. She's absolutely so let me ask you, women, why do you give that man so much influence and authority and power in your life? And the hush falls over the crowd.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, if you got that cricket, right?
I don't think women really go for men in power and authority.
Oh.
I don't, but I don't think, I mean, especially in church, that's never been my thing to be a first lady or be with somebody in power. That's never been my thing. But I think women are attracted to that because they are attracted to positions. That's just like saying a woman wouldn't go after the CEO or CFO or whatever the case may be in there. But some women are just attracted to that and they like that attention.
But go ahead, Derek. I'm sorry.
There's a reason why they don't expose you to the CEO. The CEO doesn't come around all the time.
Yeah, talk to him.
There's a reason why he doesn't.
Talk to them.
And that's the reason why companies have specific rules against fraternization. Do we have rules against fraternization in the church?
Ooh, we do not. You know why?
No, we do
Because
not.
we wouldn't have no
They don't
pastors.
stop nothing in the workplace.
We wouldn't have no pastors because they tap in from the back row to the front row. We wouldn't have no pastors. Yeah. And hey, listen. Well, let me say this. I'm not saying all pastors, but y'all know it goes on. Y'all know it goes on.
Right.
So that's why we don't have no rules. And who makes the rules in the church? Who make them rules in the church?
Pastor.
Make them rules in their church. That's why there ain't no fraternization rules in the church.
And let me just let people know. Listen, we are in mega church land. We're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There are way more mega churches per capita than what you have other places.
That's correct.
Typically, what you have, most churches are about 50 members max. Most churches are about 50 members max. So we're talking in generalizations, but we have a lot of mega churches that don't necessarily fit what we're talking about. So Jewel Blackwood says, because the average man doesn't step up in leadership. Oh my goodness. Because the average man doesn't step up in leadership, there's so much passivity. I agree with Cheryl. Listen, let me say this. I got to get it done. Listen. The leadership roles in church are very limited.
That's right.
If you are not a minister or a pastor, don't nobody want to hear what you got to say.
Yep.
In the church.
Deacon John can't come for nobody.
Right. Yeah, and I don't like the way he prayed no way. Yeah. Hey, you know y'all talking about Deacon Gray at home when y'all eating. Come on.
Girl, if you don't get out of my face. Every time I look at you in my face.
You're right, man.
I never forget my wife said when she was at church and she was single, she said she was trying to get to God and she couldn't get to God because somebody was always in her face.
Wow.
Woo.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
That's good, John.
So what type of men do you typically find in church? We'll throw it to the ladies first. Ladies, what type of men do you typically find in church?
Broken men, like y'all said, we found.
Broken men.
To me, the men are not as strong as the women that are in church.
Uh-oh.
So she's saying, in other words, weak men, weak-minded men.
Hold on. I need you to clarify that. You got to clarify that. You got to clarify that. You can't just throw that out. You got to clarify what you mean by weak men in church.
Meaning when we go home, how you leaving the house?
That part.
Are you praying?
Hello.
Can I
think we can take offering.
Okay.
Can I count on you to be
Hold up on that offering.
Which may be the strong man's answer to not being in church because they don't like being neutered.
Say that again, Mr. Ivan.
Which may be the strong man's answer for not being in church. That's why you got them 5 in there. Because I got news for you. If a pastor is not strong enough to handle a strong man, he gonna make it difficult for that strong man. I guarantee you. Because any church I'm gonna be in, I'm gonna be in the same.
Give Ivan a close up so he can say that again.
I'm telling you, if a pastor can't handle a strong man, he gonna make it difficult for that strong man. Because I got news for you. When I'm in church, I'm gonna be the same me, and that's strong. So if he can't handle that, it's gonna be uncomfortable. And that's just the way it is.
Listen, it is a man's nature to scrutinize and ask questions.
That's right.
We not just gonna ride with what you say because you said it.
But do you think that all women just ride with what the pastor said because he said it?
The majority,
not all, but
No,
most.
not all.
That's the truth.
Not
Let me
all.
put it like this. I gotta say, my sisters are gonna react like this because they not know riders like that. But I'm telling you right now, the average sister in church riding, and they're gonna bring it home. Pastor said this, pastor said that, and it's gonna be unchecked. Even in the example Derek mentioned earlier with the pastor, where he read something that wasn't even nowhere close to it, and then nobody say nothing about it.
You know when
I'm a question oral in the Bible anyway. But go ahead.
Well, you
And isn't he the pastor that cheated on his wife over and over again?
Andrea said broken ones.
Broken.
Ben says, wait a minute now. The people got a lot to say tonight. They got a lot to say tonight. All right, so let me give Mr. Mike Gaston. Mike Gaston says some guys are manipulated to be in position. They're not serving because it's a calling, but serving because they've been manipulated.
And hence the weak men.
Weak.
Oh, wow.
Capital W-E-A-K.
Oh, we know how to spell weak, girl. Go on now.
Miss Jewel said that's a toxic church thing and leave it. Listen, hold up. Because Miss Jewel, we're talking about church in general.
Yeah. In general.
We're not talking about one specific church. We're talking about church in general. There are anomalies. What I mean by anomalies, there are some places where this does not apply.
Right.
We're talking about overall, because if women outnumber men in church 3 to 4 to 1, then women are greatly affected by what happens in church.
Yeah.
And the type of blind faith that we go into church with. Listen, God never said that we can't reason together. Matter of fact, he said, let us sit and reason together. God didn't say leave your mind behind when you come to me. He said, bring it with you and let's sort through some things. Anytime anybody wants you to leave your mind behind and follow them with blind faith, they are dangerous.
Which is why, who's hurt when a pastor is exposed for something? Do you see men at the barbershop sitting around consoling each other? What they say? I can't believe he did that to us. We ain't worried about none of that stuff. We knew what the deal was anyway. He just
like, I told you.
You know, see, the bottom line is that the message is divine, not the messenger. You know, that's what you got. That's what you got to separate. You know, but Derek said, "Come in there with reason." Out of the two sexes, who reasons?
It ain't women.
And you can take me off after that.
Yeah, you got get taken off. John, what you got for holidays? Derek, John, they gonna make you off on holidays.
John, what you said?
It ain't. Y'all know women. You can't reason with a woman.
Oh,
you can't. Am I lying?
You lying?
Hey, they finna get emotional on you, John.
Hold on.
See, they feeling it. Hey, they starting to turn red right now.
Come on now, Mr. Lewis.
Hey, hold on.
I don't think I'm gonna respond. It's not Christ-like.
Let me say this. Alicia, I just want to say this. I'm just trying to help you.
No,
if you listen to what I say, it will help you. Admit you have a problem. We can get y'all some help right now.
So why do you feel like y'all can't reason with a woman?
I'm gonna be ye quiet, okay? Because I would really hate to have to, curse on this show.
Listen, if you feel like you need to get some deliverance, you cuss now. Cuss.
Most women interpret through feelings.
Yeah, we do.
Men look at facts, and it's the thing. Facts don't always coincide with feelings. They don't always go together.
Yeah. And sometimes that's a detriment to men. We, because we need to put some feeling with it sometimes. So
sometimes
when we communicate with women, when we communicate with women, we have to understand and be aware of feelings.
Right.
What is it about women?
Oh my God.
When we say something very simple, you interpret something way more complex than what we just said.
Because we read more into some of these statements sometimes that you guys say, because y'all sugarcoat stuff sometimes too.
Because y'all done said 8 words and we got about 1,300 from that.
Okay.
Right. We know.
And sometimes we do lead off of emotions first, but you better believe we backdoor with facts too.
Right.
But y'all know we are emotional creatures. Like y'all
John, go, John.
Now, wait a minute. When I said that a few minutes ago, y'all want to take me out back and whoop me.
You put out a general statement saying you can't reason with women.
Because y'all are emotional
and that creatures. Is false.
Because y'all are emotional creatures.
We got to speak in generalities. We can't speak in specifics here.
I can speak in specifics. I'm talking to them 3.
Andrea says that's not the topic though. Reasoning with a woman.
Hello.
Hello. So let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Okay. So let me ask this question: are women victimized by the church?
Derek, go deeper with that question, please.
I don't necessarily think he needs to.
He didn't ask. He didn't say that. So go deeper.
Okay, let me get Brenda's comment real quick. She says you find women womanizing broken men seeking comfort from whomever and not God. Here's the problem, Brenda. Why do they find what they're looking for in the church?
There you go. Now see, that's the problem. Now see, because they always gonna find somebody. Why is that?
Listen. We always know church is the fallback. Whenever a rapper or a singer, then their career done gone downhill. Where they go? Why? Because we don't ask no questions. We don't hold nobody to no standards. We just, oh baby, come on and sing for God. Sing for Jesus.
Come as you are.
We just accept what comes along when the church should be way more. We should scrutinize way more than anybody else because what we do is way more critical.
Yeah.
And see, D, you right, and because we're dealing with God's people. We're dealing with God's people, and we don't need to be in no position where we can hurt or affect God's people. They coming to us for help. And whether it be man or woman, they come into the church for help. And if we don't have the right people in leadership, they easy prey. They easy prey, and it shouldn't be that way.
So how is the church victimizing women? They're victimizing women the same way Walmart is victimizing customers. They're victimizing women the same way McDonald's is victimizing customers. Simple as that. It's a business. So again, we're talking in generalities, right? So when you tell someone what they want to hear as opposed to what they need to hear, that is in itself a victimization.
I got you.
Yes. And be afraid to tell the truth because your collection plate gonna be a little light.
Because if you in Walmart, if you in McDonald's line and you pull up and they say, look, this trash. Don't get this. This trash. You don't need this. But I gotta have that double with cheese. They're gonna sell it to you. We don't want nobody telling us what we need and what we don't need. We don't want nobody telling us that. We want what we want, and we're gonna go wherever we gotta go to get it.
Listen, the customer is not always right. Let me get Demond Dawkins. He says, I agree with King Doc. The type of leadership, a pastor, influences what type of men are in the church. Is he a cowboy or a shepherd? Behind cracking a whip or in front leading? That is key. Real quick, I never forget my mentor, my man, Dr. Monroe. He said he had a woman in his church who was complaining about her husband. And he said she was always in church. And he was like, why are you always here? He said, you need to go home to that man. He sent her from service.
Wow, home. That's what's up.
That's good.
He made her go home. He said, you go and you serve that man. He said, eventually the man came to church and shook his hand and said, I appreciate you.
That's right.
And that says a lot about what we talking about.
Because men don't normally tell women and people what they need to hear.
Yeah, we remember we did the show Comfort at the Cost of Truth. The topic. It happens. Some people rather be comfortable than tell you the truth. Because if I tell you the truth, I might lose you.
So there you go.
Let me get Miss Calhoun. She says you rarely see single men in the church. Most men are there with their wives or attending with their mama.
Well, the way she said that, she mad about something.
Right.
Sister Nikki didn't like that.
Who's there for me? All right. So Ms. Jewel says, if most women just follow the pastor blindly, then that's a whole other issue.
Yes.
That's an issue of the heart. They are putting their trust ultimately in man and not in God, which means that they need to redirect their focus. Let me ask you a question, Miss Jewel, real quick. How many times did you read your Bible this week? All right, let me. I'm not trying to be messy. I'm just trying to.
I get you.
I'm just trying to make a point. Ooh. You can go off what he says, but if the Bible is there in your house, you have a responsibility to yourself to get to know God's person.
Study to show thyself approved.
Right. Wow. So Mr. Fred Walton says most people are broken that attend church. So if you are not there therefore the big man, gotcha. Then you can go in any direction, anything, anyone, any situation can suck you in. He said you getting picked off. Clint says, but when you're dealing with feeling, you deal with the soul, and that is not what's supposed to be leading you. It's the spirit. It's supposed to be leading you. If not, you are out of line with God. Miss Suttereth says, study to show thyself approved.
Amen.
Don't just follow blindly. Wow. This has been great.
Oh, we done?
This has been great.
Hey, John, we ain't done. I was already thinking we got to come back. This ain't there's too much meat left on the bone.
I didn't get to throw a chair, Derek.
Oh, you didn't get to throw a chair. So now we are up to our final thoughts. We're gonna start with Miss Alicia. Miss Alicia, what you got for the people?
Just thank you for having us on the show. Like Ivan said, it is so much more meat left on the bone. I don't think I even got to some of the thoughts that I think this went a different direction than I even expected it to go, which is good because it was raw. So thank you for the opportunity. Broken men, broken women, stay away from each other and stay away from Mr. John. Thank you.
Miss Mika, what you got?
John.
I am tickled. John, you thought I was Alicia's me 2.0. Again, big thanks to Man Talk Mondays, one of my favorite podcasts in the world because it's the truth and nothing but the truth. So help you, Jesus. So I just want to, real quick, if you're going to church, go for one reason. Go to serve God. Go to worship. Go to serve, period. And if you happen to find somebody, that's it. But if not, hey, you're there for one reason, and that's just to serve God. And I say make sure that your head is on straight. Make sure you're studying your word because you cannot be torn from that.
Mr. Cole, what
First of all, I would like to thank you guys for allowing us to be a part of your podcast tonight. I had a great time, and I agree. I think that we need to come back again, as my brother said, because I think it is a lot of things that we can dig into with this particular topic. Also, everybody has said, just you have to show yourself. Study to show your own self approved. And when you go to church, it's not about nobody else because we are all broken. We all have sinned and fallen short of God's glory. So I think that we all need to go to church for the right reasons. And even if we do want a man or a wife or husband, let's just pray to God and let God lead us and guide us and direct us in that path to find our forever happiness with whoever that may be. But I also believe that not everybody in the church is bad, and that there are some good people in the church that would make good husbands and good wives. And again, I just appreciate the audience and your comments. You guys are awesome, and I can't wait to be back on with you guys again.
All right. So first of all, I want to congratulate Man Talk Mondays. They are now part of the BS3 radio group.
Yes.
We signed them last week. We are excited to have them. This was our first collaboration in the chat room. You BS3 radio folks showed out. We appreciate y'all for being here. Tune in tomorrow on Queen 3 and King at 7:30 when we will have Man Talk Mondays there talking about # relationship goals. So we get to get some of this aggression out tomorrow too. In terms of my final thoughts on this particular topic, I just want pastors and church members to understand there's no one blanket statement that covers everybody. And we did not intend to do that, right? We just wanted to have a dialogue. There are some great pastors, there are some great members. And again, there's no one size fits all solution to this problem. Each church is different and each church should handle their problems differently. And I tend to support the pastors who I see who are doing things in the way that I would do them. Appreciate your time today.
I just want to say, first of all, thank you. I want to thank you guys for being on with us, but let me get into my final thoughts. Oftentimes when we come to the church, we're coming to the church for a reason. I think we covered a little bit of that earlier. But oftentimes we move before our healing is complete. We move and we think we whole. You ever had a sore that was really, you ever had a scrape or something, and right when it starts feeling better, there's a scab on it? Well, most of the time we have scabs on us, and we start moving before we completely heal. When you're in church, seek God about when is the time for you to move. That's with relationships. That's with anything. If we make put God in more of our relationships, we won't be having a lot of the trouble that we go through. So just like you do salt and pepper, sprinkle God, a little bit more God in your life, and watch how much better your food tastes.
I know we like to say it's about religion, about relationship, not religion. But here's the thing you need to remember about religion. Religion without reason leaves you open for manipulation. God never said for us not to ask questions. He said just don't question him. Don't doubt him. But when it comes to asking questions, God wants to know what's on your mind. He wants you to kind of go through what's on your mind so that you can come to the truth. There is so much that happens in a church. There is so much that happens in life. The problem is when it comes to life, we go to church to learn how to live, not how to do life. When it comes to finances, when it comes to handling business, when it comes to just things in general, we tend to leave that on the back burner and we step outside the church for that. But when it comes to not sinning, then we focus on the church. Church is way more than just not sinning. It's how to do life in Christ. It's how to do life according to the way God intended us to do it. And that encompasses everything from family to marriage to business to relationships to everything. So God is relevant for everything. So we just got to focus in on what God wants us to learn, what he wants us to know. And if we do it, we'll be surprised at what he has to share with us. Because that's what leads to real life, true life. So we can have the relationships that God intends for us to have. And that's our King Speaks for this week. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a pleasure. I have enjoyed this tonight.
It was a good one. It was
so fun.
Yes. Rosalind says, awesome show. I want to once again thank the good people of Queen 3 and King podcast for being with us tonight. Listen, hey, Ben said, welcome. Glad to have you guys. Listen, don't forget, tomorrow we will be on the Queen 3 and King podcast, right? This is our crossover show. So don't miss tomorrow. We talk about relationship goals, right?
Yeah.
Talking about relationship goals. Hashtag relationship goals.
I'm wearing a suit and a tie tomorrow because that's what
I might suit up myself, man. So.
Don't play with him. He does silly stuff. Don't do that.
I mean, awesome show, ladies. Awesome show.
We appreciate
awesome show, man. Awesome
Thank
show.
y'all. We loved it. It was so fun. I'm looking at the 100 comments right now, laughing.
Yeah, there was a lot of comments.
Well, let me just say, when you come on Queen 3 and King, you're gonna be treated as kings. You're gonna get the king treatment.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? You're gonna get your own chambers and everything like that. You hear what I'm saying?
He lied.
Well, they didn't treat us like kings today, so it's
I know it. I real control this show.
So real quick, let the people know where they can find you.
Queen 3 and King, on all the platforms. You got YouTube channel Queen 3 and King. You got Twitter. You got Facebook. You got Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spreaker.com. So wherever you find your favorite podcast, you can find Queen 3 and King. You now can find Man Talk Mondays in those same places. Right. So the audio version alone of this show will be on Spreaker.com. So if you're riding in your car, that's the only time you got time to yourself to listen to stuff, you can listen to this show there. BS3 Radio Group, you can check that page and get all of the BS3 radio shows. So again, support us. We appreciate it. You Queen 3 and King fans, you BS3 Radio Group fans, continue to support Man Talk Mondays. I promise you won't be disappointed.
You will not.
Alicia, I'm sorry. Girl, I'm sorry.
It's gonna take some prayer for me to move on from this with you, because
that is Mika's sister, brother.
John, she loves you like I love you.
You a lot, but I do love you, but you a lot. But you know what? Your final thought was the best thing you said the whole show.
Wow.
I'm proud of you.
You got one.
Well, okay. I guess I have to take that then. Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we thank everybody that joined us tonight. Don't forget, go to our pages, like, share, subscribe to all of our podcasts. Man Talk Mondays and Queen 3 and King podcast. Go and subscribe. We appreciate everybody. We love you. Thank you. We'll catch you next week, next Monday. Peace out.